everybody, Patty Ann here. Today I'm going to show you how to make your very first decal like I did for this car back here. Join me at my computer. Okay, today I'm working in Designer Edition. Now, of course, if you're going to use this for your Cricut machine, you will need to have the Business Edition so you can save it as an SVG. But today I'm just going to do it in Designer Edition for the silhouette people. So the first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to get this flower shape right here. And since I don't have the flexi shapes over here in Designer Edition, I went out to Pixabay and I found this right here. Pixabay is a free site that you can use the images. So what I did then was I clicked on this to highlight it, and when you scroll way down, you'll see where you can do a free download of it. And it's also even free for commercial use. No attribution required. So anyway, I downloaded that. So let's go back to Silhouette. Okay, so here we are. And I come up here to File, and I'm going to say Merge. So it will come into the same workspace that I'm working on. It's way down here at the bottom. There it is. I'll say OK. And it comes in just like that. And I can scroll in more closely. All right, the first thing I want to do is I want to get rid of the Buddha in the center because I don't need him for this purpose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace this. So to trace this, I'm going to come over here to the right-hand side to this little icon that looks like a piece of toast to me. It's the trace tool, the trace panel. This panel opens up and it says to select the trace area. So I'm going to click on that. Then I come over here and just draw a rectangle or a square around this. And I check to see how well the trace went, and I can change the threshold if I need to, but I don't really need to because it's a pretty good trace right there. So I'm just going to come down here and say trace. And now that I've traced it, I can take this part out and click on it and delete it. And then I can also, let's see, I'll come up here to Object, and I'm going to say Release Compound Path. And what that's going to allow me to do is to grab him right out of here, like this. I can highlight him and pretty much, whoops, let me undo that. And pretty much grab him right out of there and delete these pieces. And then I can go back in and delete these two if I would like, which I do like. I don't want any of this jazz in here. So it's not a question of whether I like it or not. I must. And there are many ways to do some of these things. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Okay, so he's gone. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of this and I'm actually just going to grab these pieces. I'm going around just grabbing these pieces. Whoopsie. And that circle. Okay, and I'm going to change its color to gray. And now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing right out of here. So I'm making it a little bit different than my last one actually, and I think I might like this one better. I'm going to delete this over here, and I have this right now. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my text in the center of this. So I'll come over to the text tool over here on the left, click on that, and I'll just click anywhere. And I'm going to put my my initials. So it's P, and you always put your last name in the center, C, A. And if you're wondering which font I'm using, let me show you over here. I'm using a free font called Monogrammus. You can get it from dafont.com. It's a great font to be using to make monograms, obviously, whether you're doing them out of vinyl or even rhinestones. It's pretty cool. So I'm going to click on this and bring it over a little further, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click and say Ungroup. So each one of these is a little group. Now, I want to get the P first because I'm going to place it right here. So I'm going to click on these P's. I'm going to come up here to Object, release compound path, and that allows me to get rid of these two pieces over here that I don't need. Now highlight this one again, come back up to Object and Make Compound Path, and that gives me that center part back in there. And make it bigger and too big. So I've left that inner circle, whoopsie daisy, I moved it. I've left that inner circle in there just as a guide so I can know how I want to place this. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, so now I'm going to get the C. So once again, I'm going to release compound path. That's going to allow me to get rid of this one, delete with my keyboard after I select it. This one, delete, and this one I'm going to bring in the center and simply resize it. Okay, that looks great. The last one, I just need to get the A now. So again, I'm going to release the compound path. Notice that gets rid of those inner parts, but it's easy to get those back. So I've highlighted the two on the left. I'm going to hit delete on my keyboard. I'm left with this guy. I'm going to highlight him, right click and say make compound path, or come up here to Object and say make compound path. Either way, it works perfectly. And I can put this right up here and size it using that inner circle. Just like that. That's as easy as it is. Then the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move that inner circle. There we go. Don't need that anymore. Delete. I could make all of this the same color if I want to. And what I did on mine was, for that car, was I made it all a light gray color so it would show up really nicely. You could make it any color you wanted to. So now all I want to do now is to make sure that it's a good size for a decal. And you can just go out and see where you want to put it on your car and kind of get a measurement of how big you'd like it to be. I'll just make this one about 4 inches by 4 inches. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and say make compound path. And then I'm going to lock this lock and make it 4 inches square, which is a pretty good size. And then this is ready to go, a decal just like that. You do not need to mirror it because you'll be putting it on the outside of a car. You can use supposedly the Cricut outdoor vinyl, and that's supposed to last really well. Or you could use Oracal 651, that works really well. And of course, another thing that I could have done was I could have made this into rhinestones, which would have been really pretty. But that's it for today's class. I hope you enjoyed learning how to make your very first car decal. I hope to see some of these around my town soon. So thank you again for joining me. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe and tell your friends, please. And join us over at Patreon or join us over at Facebook. Check out the links below. One last thing. If you are using a Cricut machine, you can send this to your Cricut machine. However, watch. If I come up here to File and Save As, Save to Hard Drive, the only options I'm given are Silhouette Studio V3, V2, and GSP. That's why you need the Business Edition to do this. It's not expensive, a one-time fee, but watch. When I change this to View in Business Edition, it's going to add some more tools over here. And it's also going to allow me to go to File, Save As, Save to my hard drive on my computer or the library, which I have access to, the Silhouette Studio library. But I'm going to save it to my hard drive. And now if you'll notice, when I click down here, look at all these other options I get. JPEG, PNG, and SVG. If I want it to be a cut file that I can use with my Cricut, I have to save it as an SVG. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the class. Again, thanks. Bye-bye.